Upon arriving to the Mekurdika docks, the friends found Rollo Tanglestrand and his half-orc companion inquiring around the area after a group of adventurers. Ianfear slipped into a nearby blacksmith shop to find the healer of the criminal party they had chartered protection from after their previous encounter. True to their word, or perhaps true to the promise of coin, Bogram pitched a stone at the half-orc, angering him. An altercation broke out between the two, and a guard seized them both. The healer insisted she would clear his name and took the agreed upon payment. The friends now raised their glasses at the Jaunty Ladel Tavern, awaiting news of their purchased ship. And that is exactly where we left off. Let's go ahead and cut to scene and get that tavern music rolling. And the bar is still just as lively as when you guys left it. Food has been delivered at your table, and you've begun to chow down and enjoy the drink. And Val Phelan um, has already produced his pipe and is taking drag after drag, puff after puff, and the smoke billows from his nostrils. I assume the ship should be ready any moment now, Antarius says, setting his tankard down on the wooden bar. Have you ever sailed before? He looks at you in fear. Ian Fear?
Sorry.
Oh, there you are. Did you hear me?
No, barely. The music's a little too loud.
Oh, I'm sorry. Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Antarius sets his tankard down on the bar, turns to you and says, "Have you sailed before?"
Well, I've sailed once before. Obviously I traveled from Schapeben to here.
Ah, yes. Have you sailed much in your life, or was that the only time?
I've tended to stick towards the cities and, mainly towards the cities and maybe the outskirts of them. Sailing has not been something I've sought out.
I see. You handled the sea okay. Do you get sick?
Oh, I mean, it's very easy for me to handle movement and up and down and up and down. And he's gonna sort of say this as in terms of a way that, with Tess nearby, sort of with the imaging of sort of the up and down and up, try to sort of spark the imaging of possibly being seasick or nausea.
The tiefling at the table there kind of shoots daggers of gaze at you out of the corners of her eyes.
Up and down, as in how? Tess never been on a ship before. You may have to describe what you mean by up and down.
Well, when you're traveling on water, the boats have to float upon the water, and unlike ground, the water does not stay calm. It has to move. So when it moves, it will bring the boat up, and it'll drop it down, and it'll do that at a relatively constant pace.
Interesting, Tess. I had always assumed that you were from Malia. I suppose that is not so.
Malia, she's kind of, she puts her fingers up to her lips as if she's thinking. Which one is Malia? Tess is not very good with geography.
Malia is specifically where we're headed.
Oh, no. Tess never came here on a boat. Tess arrived from the forest here on this exact same continent.
What is this forest of which you speak?
Tess does not remember name of forest. To be
Yeah,
honest, Tess grew up with other humans in a remote section of the forest. There was never a name that was ever given to it, at least not to Tess.
Miscu, at this point, you walk along the Merchant's Way road. You come to the last point that you had previously seen your friends before disappearing into the alleyways. Try to get the lay of the land. Same with you, Serene. Kind of went along with Miscu that in that. You both should see the scene now.
E.
Yes, I do.
So interesting. They were here, and the city street was quite a bit more busy before. I'd say at this point, the sun's probably starting to set at the horizon. There's several buildings around each of you. You had previously ducked into the alley there to the south, at the bottom of the map that you see. Whoa, okay. Realized that was open still. Miscu, to your right. Excuse me. The front of the building to your right is different from the others in the city, as it lacks any windows or other detail, save for a single wooden door banded with iron. Affixed to the door is a strange emblem of black and red, the significance of which is not clear. Across the street from that, a tall, thin building stands at attention, fleshly against the Merchant Way street with a pinpoint precision. The cleanliness of the stone walls and iron-banded window and door betray a meticulous attention to the function of every stone, board, and even each iron bolt. Outside, and hanging on the wall of that establishment, a sign detailing an anvil and a cannon.
All right.
You know that your party was making their way toward the tavern. You're not quite sure where that might be.
And are those
You're aware of where you're headed.
Are those people up ahead by that cart?
Yes, there are two. They look to be commoners, and they're loading things into this cart. They appear to be almost finished.
So real quick, Miscu, do you have like any place or any kind of like pocket or something like that that Serene could possibly hide in? Or like a cloak? Like, does she wear like any kind of cloak or anything like that? Or
Miscu kind of wears like a scarf, like a big heavy scarf around her neck.
okay, so can Serene like hide in one of the folds? Like, she anytime they're in, you know, a town, since she's you know, Fae, she is always wary of, you know, people seeing her, and especially with some people who are doing some stuff down the street. Serene is gonna like try to fly and hide inside Miss Q's scarf.
Okay, Miscu, do you willingly allow this action?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're able to sort of find a hiding space within that that scarf. Go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Okay.
This is not for a success or a failure, but the
Just amount of stealth.
just a mount of your stealth ability in this case.
We're masked up in this city, right?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody is wearing masks.
Yeah.
In
So
fact, you note as you walk that a lot of the masks that you see on people's faces are very colorful.
So Misku specifically has a hood up and a big scarf wrapped around covering her face, so there should be plenty of room to hide in there.
Indeed. All right, so absolutely, you hide within the scarf and mask.
Settle in, short stuff.
And so she'll just jingle with with happiness that she doesn't have to be in front of these people who are ahead of them.
Further down the street, another commoner just kind of continues walking.
The building to our right is the large one without windows, right?
Yes, and affixed to the door, an emblem of red and black. Not sure what that means. Wait, you said the building to the left or right?
Right.
To the right, yes. Yes, that's correct.
Can I roll some sort of stealth check to see if I can like peek inside?
Sure.
Or I guess I
go
could
ahead.
even try the door.
Locked tight.
All right. Does it have any a lock mechanism on the outside I can see?
It does.
Then I would like to try and pick that lock. Wait, no, sorry. Let's back up. I'd like to make sure I'm stealth first to make sure no one's looking at me while I do this.
In order to stealth in this situation, you've noted that those commoners have already seen you. You'll have to vanish into an alleyway or find some other means to mask yourself.
That building will be there later.
Indeed. As you continue around, the commoners eye you warily. It's obvious that they perhaps don't see many tiefling.
We don't know where the inn is, correct?
No.
Serena's just gonna kind of whisper, maybe we should ask directions.
One moment. Misku, as you come to the end of the street, a very grandiose building grandiose-looking building over on the left sort of peels off with this large area in front of it that's a bit elevated from the rest of the street. Looks like a sidewalk. But instead, noting the building, you turn to view the sea before you. The Briny Expanse, it's called, and it spans out before you as far as you're able to see. Thoughts of your quest and of the magical plague seem to fade in your mind as you're captivated by the foamy waves and distant horizon. Your thoughts come trickling back into your mind slowly, as if they're carried by the evening tide. You ponder upon the mirror, foreboding portal to an unknown place. What relevance does it have to the encroaching disease? Did the disease come from the mirror, or was it the result of your meddling in the affairs of ages past? Will you be the savior of the world, or the harbinger of its calamitous destruction? The thoughts wash away as steadily as they came. You open your eyes to find yourself standing before your destination, the Jaunty Ladel Tavern.
I was deep.
The tavern is a small, stout building whose entrance is adorned with an anchor and ladle. Next to the door, a wooden sign reads, "Welcome in. Please pet your server when you receive your food." You stop to ponder the meaning.
So before Misku actually heads over to the tavern, while she's gazing out at the ocean and the sunset, she'll put her hand up over her eyes to, kind of like peer out over at the ocean, and a smirk will spread across her face as she'll say to herself and to Serene, because she's inside her hood, I've always wanted to beat up people at sea.
The sun sinks into the distant horizon and casts a glare upon the water that seems to reach forever until it finally reaches the end of the dock before you.
All right, Misku will, before taking her eyes from the sunset, light up her pipe and take a long drag before heading towards the tavern.
The smoke billows down into the scarf, and Serene, you can smell this pungent aroma.
Serene
It's very-
coughs a little bit.
There's very earthy tones about it. Very leafy, very musky.
Serene says, "Should we do that right before we go
Misku just shrugs, doesn't say anything, but you can feel her shrugging.
in?"
The warmth of the hearth creates a shelter most blanketing against the cool, briny outside air. The scent of the sea is replaced here with the inviting smell of delicious, searing meat. The bar is as lively as the docks were outside, stirring with people talking and the clanking of tankards amid a sea of wooden tables and full glasses. As you enter, Ahara turns and notices you. As you all see Misku walk in through the door.
Hey, come on, we got duck.
Misku, welcome in. And Tess looks to the bartender and says, "See, there are more tiefling than just us."
Misku will
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Misku will saunter up to the empty seat next to Ian Fear, on the way by ruffling Rex's hair and ruffling Tess's hair.
You shut the door closes behind you, sealing you into this warm and inviting environment. Next to you, a couple of fellows, obviously quite inebriated, sit, swigging from tankards and talking of work.
Misku will slide up to the bar and just ask for 2 ales.
2 ales. Of course. Coming right up. So she turns around and starts to pour up an ale, 2, sets them with one hand before you. Another tiefling. Huh, what an interesting day I've had.
Tess would have to agree. Not used to seeing very many tiefling around. In fact, Tess was the only tiefling growing up for quite a while. You know, come to think of it, Tess actually never knew that we were called tiefling. Tess was used to being called demon child, or monster.
Where exactly you say you grow up again?
Oh, Tess does not know. Someplace in the forest.
Well, I won't inquire any further, sweet thing. Can I get you another ale? This one's on the house.
Absolutely, Tess would enjoy that. Thank you so much, friend.
She sets an ale on the counter. Slides it over toward you. Antarius picks it up, sort of wheels around in his bar stool and hands it to you.
Without thinking, before even grabbing the mug from Antarius's hand, Tess is just gonna lean forward and like
The foam
on the
comes
ale.
off the top and fills your mouth. It is a very stout mixture. This this drink that's been poured.
Oh, thank you so much, my friend. And she'll take the tankard from Antarius and place it down in front of her and keep sipping lightly.
Welcome in, Misku. So on the, I'm not sure if you can see this yet, but I'm going to go ahead and show it. So on the back wall is a menu. And that's it right there. In the sort of at the corner of the bar, there's an opening which allows the bartender to move, move from behind the bar. But next to it, a small retriever dog. I'm sorry, a small. It's a retriever dog sits, its tail wagging, and in its mouth clutched a basket.
Misku will lean in towards the rest of the party and go, "What's with our fuzzy friend back there?"
You have to write your order down and give it to the dog.
No sooner does this happen, someone flags toward the dog. Here, boy or girl, not sure. A commoner flags the dog over, who carries this basket, wagging its tail. It pulls a card from within that basket and a small writing utensil, with which the commoner writes down something and places it back into the basket. The dog sits there, unmoving, its tail wagging otherwise. Oh, yes, and the patron pets the dog on the head. The dog, satisfied with its job, goes back to the corner, and the bartender reaches into the basket and pulls out the card. Coming right up, she calls out.
Misku's eyes light up seeing this, and a grin spreads across her face. And Misku does her best to wave the dog down.
It notices you, or it takes notice of your actions, and comes over and sits down right behind you, its eyes fixed upon you, tail wagging.
Misku's gonna give that head pets before she reaches for her card.
As soon as you pet the dog's head, it moves right back toward the end of the bar.
Oh no.
The bartender kind of looks over at you. First time you've seen one?
Yeah, I guess.
You have to train the dogs with these cues. Petting the dog on the head tells it, hey, I finished with my order, or hey, go back to the bar. It's okay. You get the hang of it.
All right. Misku will flag the dog back down again.
The dog comes back over, sits down.
Misku will pull out a card and write down whole dog, black beans, and sunflower loaf. Place the card back in the basket, and then ruffle puppy head.
The tiefling barmaid sort of laughs. It does please me how much people enjoy our server. She takes the card out of the basket, coming right up, turns around and begins cooking. So you don't know where you're from, Tess?
Tess she looks up to the ceiling while sipping on her ale. And she's obviously thinking really, really hard. No, Tess was never told about the name of these places. Tess, my mother was human, and she kind of lifts up her bag that's containing her mother's skull. She doesn't pull it out, but she motions toward it. And then thinking harder, she says, after Tess left the human settlement, Tess was taken care of by dwarves, but the dwarves didn't even tell Tess where she was. So Tess has just been wandering ever since. But Tess is not good at reading maps. It's not a strong point.
Wherever the road may take you, then.
The road to becoming a legendary hero, that's all Tess ever wants.
You are an interesting sort.
Thank
While
you.
not understanding your origins is a commonality between the two of us.
Do you know where you're from?
I know where I was born, and I know that I was found. And from there I was taken to the monastery, and that is where I live. I know not my parents or any sort of anyone that could have remotely been my parents. But I have learned that it is not as important as those relationships that you draw throughout your life.
Tess can relate about halfway. Tess knew her mother, but never her father.
One day, you'll have to tell me of your mother.
She was a wonderful human. You would have liked her. In fact, everyone here would have liked her. Tess liked her a lot. Tess loved her.
An intriguing story. I wonder, what is it that caused you to depart this settlement?
Well, to start, and Tess takes another swig of her ale. Tess and my mother were almost forced out of our settlement. Ultimately, they killed her. Tess came back for her head, and has been carrying her head with us ever since. It was purely for religious reasons, at least as far as Tess knows. Tess doesn't know more outside of that, to be honest. The humans were never really accepting of Tess, no matter how hard Tess would try to fit in. She never quite made it.
Test roll perception. You can double click your character to bring up your character sheet.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing it.
The dog in the corner, its tail wagging. The tiefling comes up to you, Miscu, and says, "You want your food on the bar, or shall I... shall I give it to the dog?" You're muted.
Miscu just waves her forward and says, "Right here is fine."
All right. She steps back over to the range top, serves up a whole duck, or I'm sorry, I didn't actually write down the order. What was it that you had ordered?
It was whole duck, black beans, and the sunflower loaf.
Ah, yes, whole duck, black beans, the sunflower loaf. So let's see. $24 silver, if you will.
All right. Miscu will dole out 28 silver. And slide that across the bar to her.
Well, I do appreciate it. Tell me, tiefling. She looks you up and down. What's your story?
Miscu's eyes will widen, obviously a little frantic. And Miscu will immediately start slamming her ale, putting a finger up to hold on a second.
She waits patiently.
Miscu will heave a large sigh, finishing the ale, look to her second ale, and slam that also.
She looks up at you again, leans over the bar, and goes, "Well, you drink like a sailor. Are you a sailor?"
Misku will slam the mug down, cross her arms with a pensive look on her face, saying, "Nope, not a sailor, and nope, that's not nearly enough alcohol for me to tell you my backstory."
I get it. The quiet type. She sort of smirks and goes back to cleaning glasses. The man next to you raises up his hand. Let me get one more of those. Ale. Yeah, it's good ale. She comes over, sets a tankard before him and pours up an ale. And as the foam reaches the top of this glass, his mouth waters. Good soup. Ale. It's ale.
Good soup.
Soup.
Is the guy sitting to the right of Misku someone from our extended party? Or is he just the random guy?
Just a random person, as far as you know.
I'm gonna eyeball this guy real quick. Can I visibly see if he's carrying any, large sacks or? Basically, I want to eyeball this guy and see if he's loaded or not.
See if he's loaded.
Yeah, like cash.
He's dressed pretty meagerly. He bears mostly cloth, tiny, bits of leather straps and things like that hold his clothing together. He's rather muscular. Looks as though he's working class. Perhaps not paid meagerly, but well, he is as he is.
All right. Miss Ghoul and Pam don't mind and start working into her food.
The two next to you, they exchange banter. You note that they speak of sailing and work. And there's a lot of talk of work. They seem to be very excited about work. Rek, what are you doing right now?
Rek's just been scarfing on this deck. Kind of listening into what between Val and Tess on their story. Didn't have much to add though, so kept quiet.
I'll say Val turns to the tiefling at this point. And what of you? What's your story? My story, it goes a little something like, none of your fucking business.
Now that is not the way to make friends with people. Tell us.
Tess, it is fair enough.
No, absolutely not. We've been sitting here talking about our own backstories, and this tiefling here want to act like she never seen other tieflings. Where are you from, my friend?
Nothing so glamorous. I am but a humble spellcaster. I'm from here. Actually. That is all you need to know.
Alright, fair enough. Can Tess buy you a drink?
You want to buy me a drink?
Tess thinks it could help. Maybe loosen up a little, make some friends.
Well, I'm not one to turn down coin. If you want to buy me a drink, then buy me a drink.
Absolutely, Tess does.
I think I heard something about a drink, the bartender says, turning toward you, kind of clasping her hands together.
Whatever our friend here would like.
I'm fine with an ale.
It-
And she
Tess will set down some coins out of her purse to pay for a drink.
Oh, I like this lot. They are forth and coming with those coins. She sets a tankard down in front of her and pours into it more of the amber liquid and passes it over towards you. Antarius, without missing a beat, picks it up and hands it to you graciously.
To Tess?
Yes.
Okay, and Tess will hand the drink to our new tiefling friend.
You hear someone say, teamwork makes the dream work.
Whoever that was, Tess agrees.
Tess, as you turn around, you notice that you're getting some very strange looks from one of the commoners sitting at the table next to you.
Tess smiles and waves at them.
Seeing that you've noticed them, they sort of duck down in their seat, embarrassed.
Bartender, maybe some drinks for these friends over here too. They seem a little shy.
Oh my, you are a nice one, aren't you? She flips around and 2 more tankards, pulls them out. Same process, Antarius passes them to you.
And Tess will stand up from her chair and walk the drinks over to these commoners and lay them down and say, "For you, a gift from Tess."
This one that's right next to you has wide eyes and glances at you and then glances at the satchel in which you keep or the cloth in which you keep your mother's skull.
And Tess will kind of shift her satchel to be a little bit more behind her so that they're not seeing into the bag.
The other commoner, oh, don't mind him. He's a prude. And the other one, angered, shoots this glare over at the other one.
Tess does not know what prude means, but it is nice to meet you, prude. Assuming that it's a name.
He looks offended, but can't muster the ability to say anything, it seems.
Well, here, prude. Drink up. Have a good time. Thank you all.
The other one laughs. I guess that's your name now, huh, prude?
And then Tess will move back to her chair and sit down and say, such weird people in this town.
It's at this moment that the... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Aether will sort of look to Tess and say, "Well, I imagine, being so close to the sea, these people are much like the waters. You know, they tend to be a little bit salty."
Tess never once, ever putting a foot into an ocean before. She's going to kind of cock her head to the side in confusion and say, "Salty? What do you mean by salty?"
Yeah,
Oh.
you'll find out soon.
Does it not fill your nostrils, Tess? Can you not smell the salt of the sea?
She takes a deep breath in. That just smells like mildew to Tess.
Mildew, the bartender says. Well, I never.
Or
No.
rain, or just wet, or even fish. Tess definitely smells fish, but not salt. Does salt even have a smell?
It is indescribable, the smell of the sea. I find it exhilarating. It is threatening and dangerous and demands respect, but Oh, to explore.
Welcome in, Healthiest.
Welcome, Healthiest.
Thank you, thank you.
Healthiest, they've pretty much been wrapped up in banter this entire time, but Ian, fear no sooner do you, or I'm sorry, no sooner do you all finish speaking than the door to the hub opens. And in walks the shipwright that you had met previously, Tess. She immediately locks eyes with you and Antarius was it? The ship's ready.
Tess will kind of reach over and like pull at Antarius's clothes and say, Antarius, our ship wreck, our ship, Tess does not remember the word.
He turns to you, the wide smile, his cheeks rosy after having a few drinks. Well, shall we then? He looks around to everyone. Would you all like to meet our vessel?
Oh, definitely.
All right.
Well,
Finish up your food and your drinks, and with your bellies full and only slightly inebriated. I'm sorry.
Before we leave the bar, Ianfear is gonna look to the bar and say, "Do you have a bottle of something fine that we can take to go?"
What's your charisma score? She says, sure, sweet thing. What were you thinking? Wine? Ale? What's your poison?
This should be for a celebration, so probably a wine.
I think I've got
or
just the thing.
champagne.
She turns around, starts rifling through the shelves. Now, where did I put them? She swings around the bar, gives the dog a few pats as she passes by, and then makes her way toward this back door here, where she pops it open and walks in. Before long, she comes out, closes the door behind her, and then goes to the other door, opens it up, and walks in. Comes out, proceeds back around the bar, and places a very old-looking bottle in front of you. She sort of cleans a little bit of the very slight layer of dust that's on it. Finest wine I've got. What do you say to 10 silver?
And here, let me see. So that would be not a problem. Ianfear is gonna actually pull out a couple of Electum or Electrum. Sorry.
Okay.
And
We place it down before her eyes light up. I do like you, lad. Not afraid to spend a little coin. Well, shall we then? Antarius says.
Oh, indeed.
The barmaid looks over to you, Tess. Leaving already, sweetie?
Tess supposes it's time for us to check out our new ship. Thank you so much for your hospitality, friend.
Do come again. I'll never get tired of looking at that face. She, smirking.
And Tess
Gives
will
you a
never
wink.
tire of seeing your face, my friend. We will stop by the next time we are here.
Well,
And while everyone starts to leave, Serene is gonna like give an audible like sigh to herself and kind of like, shake herself a little bit, getting herself ready to go look at the ship.
Miss Goo is going to be carefully wrapping up her sunflower loaf to go.
You wrap up the sunflower loaf in a few pieces of parchment that you have. The shipwright leads you out the door. If you'll all follow me, she says.
I think Keltius basically scarfs down the rest of the food that he had and proceeds out the door.
Rek, it's interesting to you to see someone so, what's the word? Noble looking, scarf his food down in such a manner. Valfalion,
I thought
noted.
you would savor that.
Well, if we gotta be somewhere, we gotta be somewhere, and you don't see me eat very much now, do you?
That is curious, Valfalion says. Do you travel often?
I travel where I must.
Valfalion holds the door as everyone exits. And the shipwright leads you along the docks, and your gaze turns back toward the great sea. The ocean seems to glow with life, stretching to the distant horizon and to the setting sun, as if to take the star beneath its folding waves. Have you already hired a crew? The shipwright asks. Yes, our crew should be along tomorrow, Antarius answers. You'll all be quite happy aboard your ship. All that's left is to give her a name. The dock veers left into a long pier, at the end of which is tethered a resolute galleon.
Do we have a picture?
You're about to.
Okay.
There she is, the shipwright states with a finality. The ship rocks gently in its place, and as you draw near, a warm feeling blankets over you, as if to shelter you from the world. The ship appears sturdy and well made. It sways gently with the ebb and flow of the sea, and a ladder, reaching down to the pier, invites you aboard. This is a fine vessel. How we afforded it? I suppose I lose track of the amount of coin that we earn throughout our exploits.
We have to mainly thank Antarius, who was able to cover the difference that Tess could not.
My pleasure, he bows. With a flourish. He looks genuinely excited. He bears this very excited expression upon his face, and he gestures toward the ladder. After you.
Looking a little nervous, Tess is going to take a step back and say, "After you."
No, I do insist.
And she'll kind of hide behind Valfalen and say, "After you, Val?"
Don't mind if I do. He climbs up the ladder and hoists himself up on the deck. His armor clatters as he climbs that ladder, and as he pulls himself up onto the deck, you see his armored hand, and he pulls off his gauntlet and begins to run his hand along the railing.
After watching Val climb up the ladder, Tess is going to kind of stop and watch the ship kind of rock back and forth. And then she nervously grabs the ladder and she'll climb aboard, noticing how the ship feels a little different to stand on and how it's rocking back and forth. Tess is just going to kind of grasp onto the wood and wait for everyone else to climb on.
I was gonna say, so before doing so, Aemfir is gonna look to Tess and say, "Is the movement a little bothersome for you?"
Oh, Tess does worry about the lack of stability.
Aemfir is gonna say, "Not to worry about that." And he's gonna do something a little. It might be a little bit concerning to her. How tall is this ladder?
It runs up the side of the ship, I'd say 10 feet.
Oh, that's so good to know. So Aemfir is going to cast Levitate on Tess.
Before she traverses the ladder,
Yeah.
Tess, you just suddenly lift up off the ground.
Oh, Yenfeeder, what? What are you doing?
Don't worry, just watch. I've got this. And using the levitate, like he's gonna lift her up into the air and then put her onto the deck.
She's kind of scrambling throughout this, like she's reaching out on all sides, and her tail is kind of flailing back and forth, trying to help her find some stability.
The movements of which, if you've ever tried to take a picture with a cat before,
I was just thinking cat.
That's pretty much exactly how Tess is acting.
do you all climb the steps on board the ship? I take it.
Yes.
'Cause you
Serena's
carefully-
gonna. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Serena's gonna, fly up without touching the bars, and she's gonna look around and kind of repeat to herself, "We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay."
You climb the ladder and hoist yourself up onto the deck of the galleon. Running his hand along the wood railing, Valphalin takes in a deep breath and closes his eyes for a moment. Turning to Antarius, his eyes appear thoughtful. It's been a while since we've been aboard a ship, Captain. Valphalin places his hand atop a nearby barrel. It has. Antarius pauses a moment, a slight smile on his face. I don't believe I ever fully expressed my gratitude for your services as helmsman. It was merely my duty, and you, my captain, Valphalin contests. Antarius at this turns around. Come, let us go below deck. I've had several barrels of stout brought on board, some for trade, some to keep away the cold night air. He smiles, inviting you down the stairs. Now, one moment while I get everything nice and prepared.
Meanwhile, Tess is going to clutch the rail of the ship and just kind of walk along it while like holding on because it feels so, I don't know, rocky.
Okay, while I am doing this setup, I would like to submit that there are specific spots on this map that will cue you to move between spaces on the ship. Just be mindful of that as you walk about. So going to the end of stairs, for instance, will cue you to go to the next area. Something to bear in mind. Making sure I've got everybody here. Go. Is that it for right now? Nope, missing one. Okay. I think I've got everybody. All right. And away we go.
I'm like just grasping onto the ladder as the ship departs, looking outwards
Oh,
towards the horizon.
it's not departing yet.
Oh,
It's still anchored, tethered to the
oh,
pier.
Tess is just feeling the
okay.
rocking of the boat sitting on the water, and that's why she's kind of clinging onto the side because she's never been on a boat before.
Right. I'm looking for something.
Well, to your left, as you look onto the ship, there are two sets of stairs that climb up
I have
to
no idea what that is.
an aft castle, sitting high atop um, the various rooms below. Um, there are several cannons lining the sides of the ship that you can see, and barrels next to them containing cannonballs. Other crates and other such things um, um, kind of adorn the rest of the main deck here. At the very front of the ship, a huge mast makes its way from the forward bow. Another set of stairs directly in front of you, Ianfir, lead down below deck. Antarius moves over, beckoning you. Follow him down the stairs. He proceeds down, vanishes. Feel free to walk your character over to the end of those stairs if you wish to follow.
Quick
Yeah,
question: Does
I
the
think my character's not there.
What? You might need to refresh your browser. I promise your
Refresh.
character is here.
quick question: Does this ship have a crow's nest?
It does.
And Mitsuko will walk with the rest of the group, but she'll keep looking back at that crow's nest.
There's a ladder that leads up the mainsail here in the center, and it goes up to the. There we go. Leads up to the crow's nest at the top. Once everybody enters the second area here, Tess, you seem to have made your way up to the aft castle. Do you want me to bring you back down? Do you need to go back down?
Yeah, I just moved my token to like the nearest stairs to me.
If you move out and then move back in, it'll take you back down.
Move out and then back in?
Yeah, so you have to move out of the little field. So do you see the stairs going down right there?
On the right hand side?
Right
Near.
here? Whoop. Right here?
Oh, this one. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
All right. One moment, please. As you carefully traverse the wooden stairs below deck, a tiny rat searches along the wall but seems to pay you little mind. The walls are sectioned off, each section housing a set of hammocks for general crew quarters. A large iron banded door stands prominently on the central wall, beckoning you to enter. Antarius continues down down the steps. Valphalin follows behind him.
Tess is just following behind everyone, nervously.
Worked really hard on this map to get that working. Ian Fear, are you coming with?
Oh yeah. Hang on a sec.
Rick moves up next to Tess. Hey, where's the mirror at?
Valphalin, hearing mention of the mirror, turns to kind of peek at you.
As far as Tess knew, it was back with the wagons that we should be loading everything up, correct?
The bottom deck of the ship surprisingly opens up into a welcoming bar. Here, the sailors might sit down for a few drinks and merrymaking, or even a small bite to eat. It's strange to see such a fixture on board a sailing vessel. As he exits the stairs, Valphalin turns to Antarius. I've not seen such a room on any ship. That's right. I made some arrangements to have this fixture installed here. Antarius says smartly. I come from a long line of sailors, you see. Antarius begins running his hand along the bar. My father and mother ran stout from South Malia to Siuk. My grandfather and grandmother ran stout from Kufia to Torco. Now that is something I did not know about you. It does explain your family name, Valphalin remarked. Yes, stout sailor. Indeed. Very fitting, don't you think? The bar
Mm,
is nestled between several other rooms used to store the ship's cargo. Inside this area, you feel at ease, as though the thick hull of the ship could protect you from the happenings of the outside world. As you realize that you will eventually be far from the problems of the world out on the open sea, you pause a moment to recognize that feelings of isolation have already begun to set in, despite having not even drawn up the anchor. Antarius kind of hops over the bar with a dexterity that seems almost unbecoming of the guy. Well, let me know if I can get you another drink.
Tess is worried she will start to feel sick if she drinks too much on this ship.
who was it that wanted sea legs? Or
Rec
who
had
was it that was worried about sea legs?
It was me, Tess.
Oh, okay.
Tess does not want mermaid fins. Tess really does like her legs.
Are you sure?
Although I would enjoy a good tankard of stout, I must agree with Rec. Where is the mirror? Valphalin sort of ducks the volume of his voice, peering around. Antarius sort of smiles, chuckles. Don't worry, we're fine here. This is our ship. And it's here. I'll show you guys in a moment. But first, a round of stout.
Aye.
He gestures to everyone to gather around, and he starts filling up stout after tankard of stout after tankard of stout and placing them in various spots on the bar. He raises up a tankard. To the voyage, then?
To the voyage.
Here.
He sets that tankard down and then picks it up and takes a long swig from it. Wonder what does that look like for you, Miscu? Being inside that wall there. Oh, weird. Huh. Can't seem to see anyone's
Yeah?
viewpoint. It's
Sorry,
very
give me a
strange.
second.
Yeah, no problem. So you all down this tankard of stout. It's very, very, stout.
Oof, this is very strong.
It'll be a good night then. A good voyage.
Stout.
Phelan appears thoughtful. You were about to say, I'm sorry?
And I was like, stout.
Tess is going. She's going to immediately start chugging her ale and just quietly thinking to herself and waiting to hear more about the mirror situation.
We've,
Yeah.
yes, the mirror. I apologize. We have the mirror on board already. It was brought on discreetly, and we've moved it into a room that is otherwise inaccessible via a small trapdoor. As you know, discretion is very much needed in this case. And so we've taken I charted a special room to be built. The forward, the fore of the vessel, on this very deck that houses the mirror. Should be pretty sturdy. Shouldn't fall over or anything like that. We should be fine.
So Tess.
Tess went AFK for just a minute.
Oh. Oh.
I'm interested to hear from you, Rek. Do you fear their mirror?
Not well. It's kind of weird with that guy going in and out of it, but I was just worried because I hadn't seen it, and I know we're trying to get it to a place, and just making sure we got everything. It's
Very thorough of you. Have you always had such attention to detail?
well, I mean, you gotta be ready to go. You don't want to leave anything behind, like all that food I made. Is that jerky on board? I don't want to lose it.
Oh, it absolutely is. We have it in the cargo hold here.
Excellent, excellent. You never know when that's gonna come in handy.
Antarius actually steps in front of you at this point and says, I don't know that I thanked you for your hard work. You've filled our stores, and we should be good for this voyage. I've purchased some additional supplies, of course. Trade, cargo, things like that. We should have everything that we need for a few months of voyage. I
Well,
must
that's
say,
good.
I wasn't expecting a galleon when we arrived, but this was the only ship that they had prepared.
I mean, it's like we're living in a castle on the water. This is huge.
Ah,
Shoot.
I remember my first time stepping on a vessel such as this, and I must have felt the same way. And
Yeah,
Harriet sort of,
when
Go
I
ahead.
took the ship that brought me from Schapeben to here, uh, I practiced some of my magic tricks for the crew in order to help pass the time, and including that little bit that I did for you, Chess, which is why, I was so happy that it actually managed to work.
Tess is still AFK. She'll be back in just a minute, or they'll be back in just a minute.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, Rex.
Ah,
Orpheus approaches from behind you.
I got some questions. I was overhearing your conversation about these marvelous vehicles or something. Marvelous something. that had to do with the what they called those big evil beings that destroyed people's villages and stuff.
Not sure I'm tracking what you're talking about.
I'm confused.
Oh dang. Well, you were talking about how either your hometown was destroyed by certain peoples and by marvelous vehicles or weaponry.
Do tell us of your hometown wreck.
Oh, I don't. I mean, I don't remember saying that, but I mean,
Maybe it was
me
said to you.
maybe. Trying to think. I mean, I don't really have a hometown. Me and my people, we're nomadic. We travel a lot. I mean, sometimes we will camp in some of the same regions, make use of some of the same caves, depending on when we get back each time of year. I mean, we'd make sure to stop off in certain towns every once in a while,
All right. Well,
trade goods and get provisions.
I
But
may be mistaken. Maybe it was another one of us in the group that was talking about it. I just don't remember.
there was the other half orc who we met in that other town. He did seem to have a different life than I did at one point.
Perhaps, Healthius, you are thinking of the war machines that are crafted in Jindu.
Oh, is there war machines crafted in Jindu?
Yes, it is an unfortunate place, really. I am not myself from Malia, but North Malia has been at war with Jindu for many ages. In fact, that is one of the dangers that we will have to eventually face as we travel to Schapeben.
Oh yeah, those orcs, those are some bloodthirsty people. Can't say I can relate to that.
I'm going to actually go ahead and roll a history check. Val, real quick, give me a moment. I'm going to do this table. Awesome red dragon themed dice that were purchased by my most lovely wife.
That me.
If I recall the history tales correctly, Jindu houses much of these coal burning war machines. They are very frightening and have been used very often in their conquests. Jindu, over the past few thousand years, 100 years rather, has been able to push its borders deep within what was once Malian territory. I am sure Ahara could tell you more of this tale, or perhaps even our friend here from Schapeben. He he gestures toward Ian Fear.
Yeah, that's one of the few things that I'm not looking forward to when returning back to Schapeben is the Jindu. But we will cross that bridge when we get there.
Did they give you much
So,
trouble
are
on your
they
travel here?
really that frightening? Or could we just, like, push back the border?
No, these are very.
This is a very
There's
warlike
a reason
people.
why. There's a reason why we are sort of divided.
Actually, go ahead and Healthiest, go ahead and roll a history check.
Sure. Oh, excuse me. Also, my history skill, I really think I should have a um, religion replaced with history.
We can talk about that later.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll a history check.
I'm trying. I don't know if I did. That
It's okay.
sucks.
No, that's okay. You've heard tales of Jindu before, and the warlike orcs who reside there. You don't know too much about the technology, though, that is being spoken of right now.
All right.
So, also, I was going to say a little earlier. So, Tess, we were talking a bit about, our travels on this boat, and I was mentioning that in my travel from Schapeben to here, I entertained the crew here with magic tricks, including the little flying trick I did for you, and I was just so happy because it actually managed to work this time.
And you and Ianfir had mentioned that it doesn't always work.
Yeah, I mentioned it. This is the first time that I actually got it to work.
Perhaps
Looking
it's because you've been practicing.
looking a little nervous, Tess is going to stare at Ianfir and say, "What happens when it doesn't work?"
Oh, it just, I tried to basically make myself sort of fly up to different areas, maybe to windows when I was younger,
To the
especially
wall.
To windows? What reason would you have to fly up to windows?
in order to look inside there, especially at night.
Yeah, the female's right.
Tess does not
Yeah,
understand.
Evir will give a little bit of a blush at that. When I was younger, certainly not nearly as much, but let's just say that while getting up in the air was not a hard problem, the landing might have been a little bit rough.
Antarius walks over, sets another stout in front of you. You dog.
Tess is having a hard time following, but she's glad that it worked out this time.
Are you able to levitate objects?
I'm able to levitate just about anything, basically, even up to even
A war machine?
heavier items. Oh, I tried. Those war machines are quite. They're it takes a team working in concert in order to even try to move those things.
Could
They're
you...
very powerful.
Valphalin, obviously a bit inebriated, moves his tankard, which is about half full of stout at this point. He says, "Could you levitate this tankard?"
Ingvar sort of looks at it and goes, "Absolutely." And then he's just gonna pick the tankard up in his hand. You see, here it is in the air. And give like one of those mighty shit-eating grins.
Sometimes I feel that I misunderstand your humor. So you cannot levitate this object?
He is levitating the object.
Infir will sort of sigh. He goes, "I can, but I prefer to use it
Sparingly.
towards the heavier objects because it does require a bit more power than some of my usual flashy things that I might use. Like,
So are you calling Tess fat?
No, this means that Tess is heavier and that she's full of muscle. Tess is actually very, very proud of this. Thank you.
Tess is a much tougher challenge to lift than this tankard.
Valphalin takes the tankard from you and places it down before him, and he says, "Tess is a mighty hero."
And Tess will, obviously a little inebriated from drinking ale multiple times throughout the day, she's going to flex her little arms.
Funny.
And what is funny about that?
You want to arm wrestle?
Healthiest, can you levitate this tankard?
Oh, well, let me see. Do, 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 do. Uh,
Are you on video?
no, chat. Hang on.
But Tess will absolutely take you up on that arm wrestling challenge, my friend. As soon as Tess can see whether or not you can levitate.
I don't believe he has it in his power.
Not everyone can be in
I'm
fear.
sorry, I didn't hear that. But I did hear something about accepting the challenge to an arm wrestle.
Tess accepts your challenge.
And as far as levitate goes, I'm looking through my spell book as we speak, and I don't see levitate, but I do have something. Where is it? There it is. Let's go over here. All right, go here.
I want to see what he pulls out here.
All right, so I'm gonna pick up the tankard. Okay. Where'd he go? What's going on? I don't know what's happening. And I'm gonna set it down on this floating disc. There you go. It's levitating.
That was unexpected, but interesting.
So how about that arm wrestle?
Absolutely. Come over here to this table. Tess will take you on.
Oh, I would like to see this.
Oh yeah.
Valphalin tosses a small baggie onto the middle of the table that lands with a clanking sort of sound. Sounds like coins. My money's on Tess.
Tess will place her arm down in the standard arm wrestling challenge position.
Like Monster Hunter, where you like swing it around 3
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. She kind of stretches out her shoulder a little bit and her arm, rotating it in circles before she places it down with her hand open, awaiting Healthius's grip.
We'll call it the Tiefling's elbow.
She puts a cloth down underneath her elbow to protect the Tiefling's elbow.
Tess turns her hat backwards. Misty's gonna pull up next to Valphalin with her arms crossed, not even taking the pipe from her mouth, blowing smoke out of their side, just going, "You've got this, kid."
Tess almost blushes and she says, "Thank you, my friend." Should I roll like a strength check for this or what?
Yeah, let's have opposing strength checks. So both of you roll a strength check. And I'll have you roll best 2 out of 3 on this one.
Best 2 out of 3. Okay, my first one's 5.
Healthiest, your roll.
Oh, I'm all talking with it muted. Duh. Did you hear me at all?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so I'm gonna crack my neck a few times, and then I'm gonna swoop my hand down to hers, and we are locked. All right, so ability check or saving throw.
This would be an ability check.
All right. Boom.
All right, so Healthiest wins the first round.
No, actually, Healthiest starts to overpower you at the beginning of the
Okay.
match. go ahead and roll another strength check, both of you. We're
Okay.
doing best 2 out of 3 for this round, this match.
Okay.
The crowd, well, everybody kind of oozes as Healthiest continues to bear down upon your arm, Tess. One more strength check from the both of you.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can kind of go easy a little bit. Here,
Do not go easy
disadvantage.
on me, my friend.
I don't know why it rolled 2.
You rolled with disadvantage. Go ahead and roll it again, just once, please. Just one roll.
Yeah, I think I know what he was trying to do. Yeah, so
Perhaps it's the alcohol in your system that causes you to relax a little bit more than you should. Healthiest wins this match.
Tess,
Places your hand at the ground.
Tess will stand up after losing, and she'll give a hearty laugh and reach her hand out to shake Healthiest's hand and say, "You have a lot more in you than I thought, String Bean."
Well, I did eat.
Who did anybody else besides Val put money on the table?
I don't think so.
It was just Val.
Yeah,
I
it was
couldn't-
just Val, I
I couldn't go
think.
against my friends.
Val picks up his coin purse and places it back into somewhere. I would like a chance.
I say that you face the winner, and Tess will move out of the way so that Val can take on Healthiest if he wants to.
Val sits down. He removes one of his gauntlets, places his elbow down on the table, his muscles bulging.
How's his smirks?
Shall
All
we?
right, let's do this.
And for the first round, for the first part of this round, they stay locked, unmoving. Go ahead and roll again. Althius, you actually have this burst of adrenaline and you press into Valphalen's opposition and start to drag his arm down. All right, last roll. Go ahead.
Dang.
Valphalen, fighting against you, pulls back. Let's see. So we have. Okay. So Valphalen starts to pull back against you, but I guess in his inebriated state, you're able to overpower him, and you finally get him to subside. You are much stronger than I gave you credit for.
Maybe not.
Tess never would have imagined that such a tiny wizard like yourself, Healthiest, would be able to outpower even Val.
I think it was just luck.
Using magic, would you?
No magic. Ta-da!
He produces a rabbit out of his, I don't know, butt. Ta-da!
So Miscu approaches the table, stretching her arm, spinning one arm around in the socket. Going, all right, let's go, String Bean.
All right, let's go.
I have to ask the DM a question real quick before we do this.
Go for it.
Would you consider grabbing a hand in arm wrestling a grapple?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Brilliant.
I was waiting for this.
Great.
It's a fucking barbarian, dude. Like,
All right, well, let's do it.
to be fair, you're lucky you got this far.
Hey,
if he fucking
it
beats
was
you,
luck.
you're fired from barbarian.
Also, what is Healthiest needs to be getting on with grappling and tumbling on his downtime anyway. So if this is grappling, then he's doing his job.
Yep, this is a type of grapple, yes.
All right.
Why is there 2?
Because this is with advantage. Go ahead and roll it.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Okay, so which one did I beat?
Holy shit.
So that was his best roll, was 16, and you beat it.
Lay it on me, bro.
Misku, he is surprisingly strong.
Misku starts sweating a little bit.
Tess is going to cheer
Hey,
on Misku.
Don't be showing off now.
Too funny.
Oh, here it comes. All right, we got a 20 out of Misku. The high roller, though,
Nice, let's go.
seriously.
You're 1 and
Misku-
1. Come on, my friend. You got this.
Misku focuses and returns your hand to its original position and starts to press down, or bear down upon you. Go ahead and roll the third one.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh, oh, yeah. No.
Misku is toying with you. Bam! Your hand slams down with a final thud. Your reign of terror is over.
I still need that hand to cast magic. Thank you.
Well, it's not broken. It's not broken.
Misku crosses her arms, trying to act unfazed, but clearly shook by the beginning of that match. Right. You're strong for your size, I guess, but it wasn't enough.
Oh man, I want in on this too. So Rek sits down at the table and he punches himself in the face with both hands. His blood starts dripping from his lip. He pulls off the gauntlets. He's like, and just slams his arm on the table. Let's go, Misku. Let's go.
You can see a fire start to flicker in Misku's eyes, and she goes, "Let's go!"
Fucking
This is the part where
Valphalin.
you see, yeah, this is the part where you see the anime fire start to revel around.
Exactly.
No. Valphalin huffs and fire actually comes out of his nostrils.
You can practically see the electricity zapping between both Rek and fucking Misku.
Rek begins to overpower Misku during the first part of the match. Their muscles tensed.
Oop.
Misku brings it back in the second section of this match, and they go back into a neutral state. Last roll. Maybe the last roll. 21 from Misku.
So Ian Fear
21
is
from
actually gonna he's gonna use his bend luck skill, and he's gonna add to Misku.
Misku, you get a sudden burst of what you imagine to be adrenaline as you overpower Rek.
Quick question: are there any like lit candles around us of any sort?
No, there's a lantern at the ceiling of the room in front of you, or I mean, in the center of this room. But no lit candles.
But it is like a fire, correct?
Yes, there is a fire in there. Yeah.
Okay. Misku is gonna slam Rek's hand down to the table, stand up, pumping both of her fists, just letting out a
ship. Don't burn it down.
Letting out a battle cry. I also want to use my is the tiefling thing?
Thaumaturgy.
Yes, I want to use that to make like the flame in the lantern start dancing like crazy as she like shouts out.
I'm gonna try and stumble to the dancing flame and try and stomp it out because it's like on a
no,
wooden ship.
He's just talking about I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, she's talking about this. Can you see? You can't see that.
I can't,
What
but
is
I
this?
imagine so the flame is still contained in the lantern. She's just
Right, I'm not-
making the flames dance and get real excited.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
okay.
that.
Wreck.
There it
It's like,
goes.
"Ah, you be me.
Rematch, rematch, rematch.
No, it is done.
Miss
You have
Q,
made, you have
oh,
made your ancestors proud today, Miss Q, and we will
Miss
honor this.
Misk is gonna walk up to Rek, put her hand on either of both of his shoulders, and just shake him. And go, let's drink about it.
And then he rushes over to the bar.
Another round of stout, then, Antarius says. Well played,
And
warriors.
Terrius, what about you?
I'm not one to
Antarius
gamble.
versus Serene. Antarius versus Serene.
You
Come
wooed
on,
me.
bro.
He's
Serene
looking at the
says,
small
"Okay."
fairy. It would be unhonorable to stand down from this fight.
Tess has always wanted to see Serene really put her strength into something.
I'm gonna throw down my money pouch onto the table. You hear nothing.
Wolf of dust.
I think you dropped this. Valphalin hands it back to you.
But why? You don't like the cloth?
Antarius kind of sighs. He takes a swig of a tankard and places his arm down, looking at you. Serene.
Serena's gonna like huff, 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 and like kind of get herself prepared, and she's gonna like her whole hand is like wrapped around like maybe one or two of his fingers.
Probably his pinky.
Yeah.
In which case, go ahead and roll with advantage.
Oh, okay.
You
Never
ever grab
mind.
someone's pinky?
I did the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's stealth.
Yeah, I know. I meant to do I meant to do
You
strength,
hide.
but I did stealth. Yeah. I don't know. What is this? Okay.
Click on strength, click on ability score, and then click on advantage.
Ability check advantage. Okay.
And Harrius easily begins by overpowering you and almost placing your hand down, but he hesitates. Go ahead and roll again.
Serene says, "Don't take it easy on me."
He locks your hand into that position. You're at about a 30-degree angle from the table at this point. One more roll.
Ouch.
And Harris easily places your hand upon the table and goes, I'm so sorry.
So she's like, "I didn't do bad. This
Serene put
wasn't
up a
bad."
great fight. Serene put a lot of strength into it, a lot more than Tess expected. A round
Serene
of
feels
drinks
pretty good
for
about
all.
herself.
Literally would have taken two hands to actually wrap entirely around his his hand.
Mhm.
Ah, all right. If you've now, if it would please you, shall we go see the mirror?
Tess would like to see the baby.
Then follow me. And Harrius proceeds back up the staircase, onto the second deck, Valphalin following just behind him.
Along with Tess right behind Val.
Tess, looking quite excited. Healthiest, that seems to... I'm not sure how you feel about that, but Tess looks rather excited about seeing the mirror. Everybody else coming along? Anybody-
Rex gonna keep sipping on his drink.
Oh, well,
Rec,
that's
no
the case.
interest in the mirror, eh?
As long as we got it, I'm okay.
Rec, you continue sipping on your drink as the place empties out.
I could have sworn I had that. I could have sworn.
Miska's
Misku.
gonna hang back with Rek.
Also remains. Also sipping the stout that is the namesake of Antarius.
When Ian Fear passes by Rek and Misku while they're talking, when he hears him say he thought he had it, Ian Fear is going to say, "Sometimes you're just unlucky, my friend."
All right. So, Antarius leads you.
Like that duck all over again.
Antarius leads you to an archway. And beyond this open archway sits a very official-looking table set atop a red rug. On the table, a map and some various navigational tools are laid out. Chairs and benches line the walls of this room, and on the inner walls, next to the arch, hang some various pictures depicting images of great sea vessels.
Have I been muted this whole time?
No, not the whole time, no.
Oh, okay.
What were you trying to
So-
say?
I've been poking Tess, going Tess, Tess, Tess. Did you guys not hear that? Like the whole
No,
time
no,
that you guys
I
were
didn't hear
going
that.
down here?
Yeah, I think you were muted for that. Tess will turn to look at Healthius and say, "Yes, String Bean."
Which one is Tess? This one, right?
Yeah, the one
Which
that's
one?
like right in front of you, the purple tiefling.
Yeah, you're just you're
Yeah, you're circling Tess right now. That is very threatening.
So I was
drunk.
circling her at and like poking her as I was like basically at calling her or whatever. But oh, okay. So
You've not seen him ever so eccentric as now.
Yeah, Tess is gonna stop in her tracks, seeing Healthius kind of circle her, and she's gonna clutch her bag to herself and say, "You're being very creepy, my friend.
ah,
How can Tess help you?"
yeah. So, what's up with this mirror? I think you know more than you're leading on.
Tess's friend is in there.
Okay. Who's your friend?
A little bird man named Scrito. He
A little bird man.
came through the mirror, was talking
Where
about
is
a
he?
lady. He's in the mirror. He is Tess's friend.
But he came out of the mirror.
Exactly. He came out of the mirror, and then he went right back in, and Tess could not follow.
What did he say?
That there was a lady that he was serving, a dark lady, and Tess is very interested in learning more about her.
A dark lady.
Yes.
Was he asking for help or what?
In the way that Scrito was communicating, it definitely seemed to Tess like he was asking for help.
Help to do what?
Tess does not know.
To escape. He remember, if you recall the last time that you saw him, he handed you a folded up letter that said, "We are being held prisoner by the lady. Please save us."
And Tess, still having that letter, she's going to unfold it and show it to Healthius and say, Tess does not know exactly what the lady is doing, but Scrito and his people need help.
Did perhaps he say whereabouts they are?
No, Tess can only assume it is a different plane of existence that may be named something outside of our own tongues.
Go ahead and roll a
Hmm.
Arcana check on that.
Okay. Give me a moment.
Who?
Boop, me.
Tess. Very well. Different plane of existence indeed.
Scritto
I,
only seem to be able to repeat words that they have already known. So learning to communicate with this Birdman and learning what he needs and what his people need has been kind of a struggle, but Tess really believes that he is good deep down inside. She wants to help him, go inside the mirror to help release him and his people from the lady.
are you sure that the mirror was going to a different plane of existence rather than another point in the world?
Absolutely another plane of existence. Or
You say
another
our
realm. Tess is very confident. Are there any other questions that you may have? Tess is very excited to see the mirror.
yes, but I don't remember at the moment, but I'll come back to him again. Let's go check out this mirror.
Let us. And she'll kind of race into the room with everyone to go glance at the mirror.
As you walk in, this seems to be just an ordinary map room. You mentioned that the mirror was here. Not here, my helmsman. Not here. The table is adorned with a map. I'm going to go ahead and show that map right now in case anybody wants to have a look at that. Who did we lose?
Miss Goo has to get ready for work. It's already 7.
Okay. So the table is adorned with a map. Let me go ahead and share that map right now. Where I'm put it. There it is. Map depicts the the entire world along with a route haphazardly drawn onto the map that depicts the route that your ship will take to get there. And Harius takes a step back off of the red rug beneath this table, and using his foot, he sort of rolls the rug into a backward and reveals a very rather unnoticeable trapdoor. So if you close out the map when you get the chance, there is a another journal entry that should be available to you now.
I'm seeing a map. I kind of missed the whole conversation though, but what's up with the map?
So the map is there in case you need it. If you click on the little bookmark icon over to the left, you will see
I don't see a bookmark. Oh, there's a bookmark.
over on the left. You have like a thing like that looks like a dude, and then there's like a little like measuring tool, and then there's a bookmark.
Journal notes, yes.
Yep, click on the bookmark, and you should.
It doesn't have. I have to close the map.
I do not have any kind of extra notes. I have like a map. Like if I double click on the little marker, it'll show the map.
Can I?
One moment. Not sure why that's not working, but we'll try to fix.
Can I have?
Oh, is it this? Oh, I see.
Can I have a copy of the map?
What were you saying, Ian Fear?
So the journal notes, if you click on the journal notes, it actually shows a little thing under right next to the table that says the trap door.
Yeah, it should be showing now. I reconfigured the permissions on it. So if you click on the little anchor icon, that will show you the map, and if you click on the little sign icon, that will if you are standing in the correct area, will take you through the trapdoor.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
correct area being the 4 spaces that are just in front of the map.
I had to click like about 20 times on the anchor to get the map to come back up.
Now that
So-
trap door is not taking me anywhere.
So okay, stand right there. Now click the trapdoor. Now click
Like
click
20
the,
times.
Oh,
click the-
okay.
Okay.
I
Yeah, as
can't.
soon as you click the trapdoor while you're standing there, you'll climb down the ladder. So
I
you
can't
have to
move.
What?
I can't move.
You have to
Like, he's
click
not moving.
real quick, you have
I'm-
to click that little like person-shaped icon that's on the top left. You have to click that
Right.
before you can move your character around.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm clicking him and it's not
Right. But
doing
you
anything.
have to first click on the little on the left-hand side at the very top. Click on the little person icon.
Oh.
That'll put you back into selection mode for character. And that's token
Okay.
controls, and then move your character.
Not moving. Nope. not
Make
moving.
sure that both the person icon, which is like a head and shoulders, and the little square icon are both selected, and then try to click
They
on
are.
your character again. Try
They are.
refreshing
They're
your
both-
browser.
Yeah, I'll refresh.
Once everyone's down here, I will we'll go through the dialogue. I know we're a little bit past time, but
I got here a little late, so a little past time ain't too bad for me. I don't know what everybody else has to do, but I don't really have to do anything.
so if you can move into one of the 4 spaces in front of the table.
Right. Let me see if I can get him to move. I hear stuff, so. Ow.
Sorry.
Nope. Not moving. Oh.
I moved you.
Oh, okay. Hey,
There
what
we
happened?
go. Okay, so you climb down the ladder, and here, mounted upon these these stands that have been built, that have been nailed down to the floor, the mirror stands, emitting eerie light.
Oh, is that what all that is?
Yep.
Okay. I still. Oh, there we go. I can move.
The mirror, Healthius, is very ornate looking. The frame of this mirror is very non-standard. It's a brass sort of fixture that is ornate and very detailed. The artistry. Go ahead and roll a history check.
Okay, give me 1 second while I get back to my player character health. Yes. Okay. Can you hear me? Am I muted?
No,
No,
you're not muted. We
We
can
can
hear you.
Okay. And normal history. Plus what? It says 3, but I could have
It's a
swore that was
13.
supposed to be 6.
It's a 13.
Oh.
Healthius, you actually note that the frame of this mirror bears an art style that is very similar to that of the artifacts that have recently been brought in to Bunavar and put on display in the citadel there.
And where is this?
Bunavar, that's
Bunavar.
where you served as court mage.
Ah, so this looks awfully familiar to me.
Familiar, yes, but you've very little actual experience with the art form.
Right. Now that it's hanging, it looks a little different.
Indeed. The mirror sits there, emitting this glow that seems to permeate the entire room.
Hmm.
Tess, this is an artifact that is very close to you.
Yeah, Tess is going to, she's not even listening to anyone. She almost seems like she's in a trance. And she's going to approach the mirror and lift her hand up to touch the glass and stare into it.
So you touch the glass, you almost expect that ripple effect that had happened previously, but this time when you place your hand against the glass, nothing seems to happen.
She'll place her forehead up against the glass and say, Tess is coming for you, my friend.
Ian Fear, you note this happen right next to you. Well, that's all the time that we've got for today. I hope that you have all enjoyed the show, and I hope that you'll join us next time on New Dalancia, our Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition campaign. That'll happen every Sunday between 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time. I know we went a little bit over today. I also hope that you'll join us next week for Deep Space Transmissions, the show in which we take you to the outermost reaches of the Milky Way galaxy, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Central Time here on the VG Punks channel. Until next time, I am VG Punks, your most gracious GM, and I'm signing off. Keep a song in your heart.
Who wants a fireball?
Bye.
Bye.